Hello. Today it's 3 of us here. So we can see that there's still some people joining. So we might wait a minute or two before we properly start. But maybe just to introduce to you a little bit how this works. We typically keep it around 45 minutes or so, but we start with a quick introduction round. So everybody can just very briefly say, who they are, why they're here, and we can go through everyone, and then in 2 minutes we can start, and then everyone can ask a question and we go to the next one, and we do a few rounds like that.
Yes.
So,
who are you?
Maybe to introduce myself. So I'm Lea. I'm the CSR officer at Magin, so responsible for all things sustainability, like writing our sustainability report, things like that.
And my name is Bert van Son. I'm the founder of the company. I started exactly 11 years today. The company, the first and only circular denim company in the world. And today we are joined by our new colleague and new CEO, Jolanda.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Jolanda Brink, and I've now been with Magins exactly 2 weeks.
So you see, we are introducing her to all the aspects of circular denim, but we are very proud that she has joined the team and wants to take up the position of leading this company to the next phase. We have big plans to grow faster than we do already. But let's go to you. We also propose to you that you interact with each other, because most of the time you have similar questions and you can help each other. So in the chat box, I would kindly propose to you to leave your email addresses. But let's start by who's here?
Yeah, Rob,
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with a small introduction.
You all have like 30 seconds, 1 minute to do your elevator pitch, say what you do, and then to the next one.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Rob. I'm currently doing my master in Science, Business, Innovation, the VU. And I'm currently doing a project about a CO2 compensation software for web shops. Have you ever heard of it?
What kind of software?
A CO2 compensation software, so that people can basically add an extra amount to their cart, an extra small fee, and to compensate the CO2 emissions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have heard of it.
Yeah, okay.
For me, it's new, so I'm learning.
Yeah, but I saw that you already did like offset your CO2 emissions, but you don't show that anywhere in the checkout. Why is that? Why did you choose to do that?
Maybe we do a quick intro round first.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, cool.
Questions. Yeah, maybe Tindra, we can go on with you. I'm quickly grabbing a cable.
Yeah, so my name is Tindra. I'm writing my bachelor's thesis in fashion supply chain and how governance and ownership can be used to enforce transparency, basically.
Okay, where are you from? What kind of studies do you do?
I study in Amsterdam, but I'm from Sweden.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Filippa K.
Hi, Cardoso. Yeah. Hello, good afternoon. Nice to meet you. My name is Filippa. I'm a master student doing a master in supply chain management in University of Groningen. Right now, yeah, Groningen. Today I'm here to basically pursue on doing questions on my research on knowing how non-governmental organizations, therefore one that you work with, social labor convergence program, how does it contribute to sustainability in a supply chain? So yeah, I will further explore my questions on this.
Sounds good.
We have to charge over there. Let's go to Amelie.
Yeah.
I didn't put on my glass. Amelie. Hello.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. I'm a master student in environmental and safety management in KU Leuven campus Brussels. And in the course transition management, together with a few other students, we are writing a paper on the transition in the fashion industry towards more sustainable fashion.
Great.
Nice. Perfect.
Welcome. Paul Schmidt.
Yeah, name's Paul. I do the Master Innovation Sciences at the University of Utrecht. And in my thesis, I'm right now researching how a sort of sufficiency based business models and an overall focus on higher R strategies is being given shape by organizations like yours.
Okay. Well, we hope we can reply to your questions. Let's go to Katarina Lang.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm also a student doing my bachelor thesis at the moment, and I was focusing on circular strategies in the industry, more specifically including rental, repair, remanufacturing, and resale, and also recycling. So it's very interesting for me to be here and get the chance to ask some questions.
Okay.
Nice.
Then we have Linda Slim. Lindy, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Lindy.
Hi, my name is Lindy and I study at the Amsterdam Fashion Institute. I'm currently writing my final thesis on brand credibility, and I would do research on consumers and when they see a fashion brand as credible. And then in terms of sustainability, I think Mud Jeans is a very inspiring company, and I also think you have a clear way of communicating sustainability. So that's why I wanted to ask some questions.
Okay.
Nice.
Now we have a very young student, Helga Arends.
Yes, hello. I'm from Aachen and I'm a research assistant at the Institute for Textile Technology. And in a part-time study, I study sustainability management as master's study. And for a term paper, I have to compare 3 companies with a circularity economy. And I have some questions from the process of cutting and something like this.
And who are the other 2 companies?
Kanda, C&A, and the other one is Fossen. They make towels from Austria.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And then we have Bursa Tufal. Merhaba.
Merhaba, thank you. Thank you, first of all, such an opportunity. I'm doing my master's in Maastricht University in European Studies of Science. Really?
Studied there, yeah.
Technology. So I am searching for the different interpretations of sustainable products across different domains. So I would like to learn your expectations from the new eco-design regulation for sustainability products that is upcoming.
Okay, we'll get to it. First of all, congratulations to all of you, because we made it quite difficult to get the right link today. We made a mistake in our email, so you are very smart. Let's go to Rob. What's your question?
Yeah. So I saw that you reduce your CO2 emissions to about 5.9 kilograms, but you don't, and you also offset your emissions at Blue Dot.
Yeah,
if I understand correctly. But why don't you show that to the customers, basically?
Well, I think
smart question. Yeah.
it is a smart question, yes. So at the moment, I think especially when it comes to offsetting, I think it's a difficult topic. So something that's like the consensus in this sustainability field, I think, is that the focus should be on carbon reduction and not offsetting.
Yeah, okay.
So advertising around offsetting the emissions that you have shouldn't be the focus, but really kind of looking at how can you reduce those emissions further, because if you only advertise about a carbon neutral product, you're not actually educating the customer on what matters most. So I would say that's kind of our standpoint on that, why we're not shouting about carbon offsetting and carbon neutrality, from the rooftops, and carbon positivity. But yeah, of course, it's always something you can educate about still.
We do tell our customers that we plant a tree for every sent back jeans, right? Together with Just Dig It. Is that in our checkout? I don't know.
It's not in our checkout, no.
No.
That's a good idea, Rob. Thank you.
Okay, cool, clear.
Can improve there. But it's true what Lea is saying, we should not be too proud of offsetting, because that's not really the way forward. The best is, of course, to not emit CO2 at all. But okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Let's go to the next one. To Tindra.
Yeah, Tindra.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so my question is about collaboration. So how do you think companies can collaboratively work with stakeholders like other firms, NGOs, and even the government to promote sustainability? Because I see you guys work with other brands as well to balance out the sustainability.
You can talk about it then. We do cooperate a lot with government and with the EU. We help also with a lot of experience that we have from the last 11 years. We share a lot. What we did is, for instance, in Amsterdam, we are a part of the denim deal. Maybe you can evaluate.
Yeah, so there's actually a whole range of initiatives that we're a part of. So there's something called a denim deal. There's another initiative that's global, that's called Jeans Redesign, through the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So there's a whole lot. The denim deal, for example, is well, different companies from along the denim supply chain working together to increase the amount of post-consumer recycled content in jeans. So this is really all about companies meeting, collaborating, sharing knowledge, looking at how can we move forward, how can we drive the demand for this. But there's also, you know, more governmental ways that we interact and kind of try to push positive change. There's a lot of things that Bert takes part in and where you advocate for positive change. Yeah, so I think the options are really endless. Also, to some degree, I think a challenge kind of balancing your time between those things, but yeah, it's definitely a really important part of what we do.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Can I ask a follow-up? Do you think that companies are going to be more dependent on multi-stakeholders for sustainability?
I think so. It's also, we are also a B Corp. So not only within our world, but also outside the fashion industry, we try to collaborate and learn from other companies. We are in close contact of companies that are looking in the same direction as we do. So that helps. We support each other. That also helps. So it's a community that makes we make ourselves stronger in this way. So yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to
Philippa.
Hi. Well, yeah, a bit in line with also Tindra. Maybe now extending a bit more our sustainability term, also contemplating also social and labor conditions. I will also like to know your connection and collaboration with the SLCP, Social Labor Conversions Program, and why did you decide to collaborate with them, and what were your biggest motivations on joining this program?
Can I start with the start and then you talk about this? We started off 10 years ago with the Fair Wear Foundation in Holland. You may know, heard of them. And they had then the Young Designers Program in which we took part. We had our whole factory audited. It's very expensive. They make a plan and move forward program to help you to improve for the future, what still is going wrong. And then they changed from they changed their system not to accept any more smaller companies, which was a pity for us. We were at that time still too small. And so we were a little bit disappointed because we paid a lot for those you say that research that they did. We now call them the Unfair Wear Foundation. No, that's a joke. Don't write that up. And then we had to move to somebody else. And so Lea can tell you more about this.
Yeah, so there's a range of different ways that we kind of try to guarantee that there's fair
wages.
Well, that there's fair conditions in across our supply chain. For one, we have our supplier code of conduct that really covers, you know, all of the most important things. You know, it ranges from non-discrimination to wages to general conditions and working hours.
The use of
also what kind
dangerous
of chemicals, you know, it also goes into the environmental side. We have a chemical policy, and then we have additional certificates or audits that our supply chain partners go through. We have different partners that are GOTS certified, and also, yeah, like you said, the SLCP. There's, for example, our main, our tier 1 supplier, U6 International, and they are, they recently did another audit with them, and yeah, we just feel that they offer such a wide range of assessment, but we do also, you know, work with our supply chain partners there and try to find what's best, you know.
Yeah, and maybe to add on this, that of course we know all the owners and the proprietaries of the factories that we work with whom we have a very good relationship, and we also choose these people because they have the same feeling to go forward in a better way. You know, it also has to be on, not only certification, but also on the human side. You have to be sure that the people you work with are having the same mindset as we have. So that's an important part also.
Okay, so you also agree that this, let's call it intermediary, in this case SLCP, as could be any of the others that you mentioned, also facilitates the coordination among your supply chain, because it facilitates the way how you have to make decisions, or not so?
Not really. You think so?
Well, I think it's definitely helpful in kind of pinpointing where you still have room for improvement, and kind of having a starting base of seeing, okay, there, you know, it really is a good checklist in that sense of what you have to take into account or talk about. But overall, for us, beyond certifications and audits, it's also really about that one-on-one kind of beyond those things, knowing what's going on and what you want to improve on. Yeah. So we wouldn't say that this is the main thing that we base our innovation or our general.
No, it's wider than that. We are also a B Corp, a benefit corporation, in which you decide as a company to change the statutes of your company. You undersign the Declaration of Interdependence, which means that you're a limited company, you want to make profit, but not at all cost, not at human. So it's only a part of the whole vision of the company. And the other thing I want to add to this, that we are radical transparent. So you can ask us any questions, we want to reply on that. If we can improve, we will improve. So that's also an important part. So it's much larger than only one certification that says that we are being nice to the people that work for us or with us, or in this company here in Holland also.
Okay, thank you so much.
Amelie?
Yes, my first question is more like maybe introduction, but what do you think about the current fashion system, like the current way of thinking and doing things, the fast fashion, the take, make, waste system, but also why do you think that there is no to little change in that system?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's one of the reasons that we started this company, because we are so worried about this whole pushy fast fashion thing that's happening in the world. And my dream was to be able to counter this and to show that as a company, you can do things differently, and to make a whole movement in the fashion industry where people would follow this. And some things are getting better, but in the 11 times we do it, in the 11 years we do it now, we've seen a new phenomenon picking up, the ultra fast fashion. So to my sadness, I also see things going really the other way. But okay, let's not be, how to say, totally depressive. You know, a lot of companies, I believe, are trying to do better. It's hard if you are a huge company to change things. For us, it's easy. We started as a circular company. This is what we want to do. We know what we are doing. Our supply chain is very visible. We can track easily what we do because we still have this overview. But yeah, in times that you grow and you get more and more contractors working for you, it's more and more complicated to be sure that you are doing the right thing everywhere. Does that answer your question, or I'm just battling away?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Maybe just quickly, Buzra, I can see that your hand is raised. Do you have something urgent that you wanted to ask, or?
No, it's just I think the method will be based on this. So I think you are going by the alphabetic order or something.
Yeah, we just
go through the order of.
Okay.
You are in line. Sorry.
Oh. Katarina.
Yes. So, well, my question is also in kind of that area, but I was interested in hearing like what were your main drivers? I mean, you quickly mentioned that, but what were the main drivers in implementing those strategies, and maybe also what barriers did you face or were you thinking about in the beginning?
It's the main driver is, of course, that I've been very long in the fashion industry and I've seen everything in every factory in the world, I can say. And in my time, in my lifetime, the clothing industry went from something that you make of good quality to protect yourself and to look good into this fast fashion monster, what it is today. And I wanted to counter that and start a company that did things better. The difficult part is, of course, financing this whole thing. I started off a little bit too enthusiastic, and but it's hard. It's hard to get customers to understand that the fashion industry is really a rotten industry, and that clothing is way too cheap. That if you buy something today, you really have to be very intelligent to see what's going wrong. So for consumers, it's not easy to see where and what to buy and for what price. And we also have difficulties to work on that and to express ourselves and to get our message across. Today we always say the dark green customer can find us, understands us. But if we go to a little bit more mass market and try to find people, say, averagely interested in sustainability, it's very difficult because there's so much offer, there's so much lying also, there's so much greenwashing about what's going on. So that's a difficult part of our business. So if you have good ideas, we would like to know how to convince you to wear our jeans in the future.
Maybe can I follow up also on this, because I'm currently working in a fashion brand that is investing in implementing strategies, like repair, for example. But would you say like there's like different kind of hindrances or like motivations for like different kinds of strategies? Like repairing is one example, but there's also like rental and resale, and I think they have like different kind of obstacles, especially for already well-established brands that haven't stepped into those strategies yet.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Yes, in Holland, the Dutch government works with the R ladder, they call it. Do you know this?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I don't explain that. Yeah, you have to start at the top and say refuse. Don't buy so much. Buy less of good quality. Things like that. So yeah. Does that answer your question? I think so.
Yeah, kind of. Maybe also, I mean, you're like a denim brand, so that is one category. But maybe like, would you say like for different kind of products or like maybe also different value points, it's easier or harder for brands, products to be involved in those strategies?
Yeah, we started off with denim, and the reason is that we found out that the denim yarn at that time, I talk about 11 years ago. In the meantime, Technique have overtook us, but at that time you can easily recycle old jeans and make new jeans out of that and use 40% post-consumer waste, which we loved really because that's really completing the whole circle and make a circular brand. Today, things are getting different because denim suppliers can now also use yarn that has a little bit of polyester into it. We are still searching for what we should do today because there's a lot of things happening on the material side and on the recycling part and on the chemical recycling part and the mechanical recycling part. So we also have to adapt to today's situation, yes. But we started off being really trying to make new jeans from old jeans. let's go to
Thank you.
Lindy.
Yes.
Lindy from Amphi.
Yes. Yeah, my question is pretty broad, but I was really curious. How do you create credibility as a brand in terms of sustainability? So how do you make sure that the consumer believes what you say about sustainability?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because it's also, I think, a discussion point again and again. Also, how do you distance yourself from the greenwashing of other brands, right? Because at the moment, everybody can kind of make these claims, and like you said, it's then hard to really have that credibility to your statements. So I think for us, Bert also already said that term, radical transparency.
Yeah.
So we really want to bring across that we have nothing to hide, and that you can ask us any question, and that we will show you our whole entire supply chain. We will show you how our products are made. We are showing you what we're working on, what we can still improve on. I think being honest about the things that you're still working on and kind of giving anyone the feeling that they could know anything about what you're doing. I think that's where the credibility comes from. But that being said, I think that upcoming greenwashing regulations will also really help with this, because then you will really be able to only make those claims if you actually have something to back them up. So at the moment, I would say it's just the radical transparency for us moving forward. I think it will be just the true credibility behind our statements that will allow us to make them and others not to.
Yes. Okay, clear. Yeah. I have also a follow-up. Do you notice any negative effects of the greenwashing of big fast fashion companies, or like do you think that it does affect truly green companies like Mud Jeans, for example?
Definitely. I'll try to keep it short, but what we always say, I think, is if you look at all these bigger companies that have endless marketing budgets and can make technically the same statements, of course it has a negative effect on us that they can make the same ones that we can without regulation being there. So I think the existence of greenwashing definitely has a negative impact on the ones that are truly sustainable, because it's just hard to differentiate yourself. At least until now it has been. So I think it just takes away the credibility from the ones that are truly sustainable, and it also confuses the consumer, because you cannot expect them to be sustainable experts, read into every statement that is made, or understand what is meant with it. So I think it's confusing, it's misleading, and it's also just a disadvantage to those that mean it.
And it can also backfire on a big company also.
Yeah.
It can also do you harm if people find out that you're lying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go to
thank you.
Welcome.
Helga.
Yes, thank you. I have two technical questions. The first is, you have several components in your jeans, like zipper, ribbed yarn, or the pocket bag. And how is it possible for you to divide these jeans, and what percentage of pair of jeans is really recycled? I can imagine the upper part is waste because you can't put off the zipper and things like this. The parts with the polyester yarn is waste. Also, how can I?
We do this in Spain, and in the beginning, yes, they cut quite loosely around the zipper and the buttons and the rivets. Today, it's a new technique where they cut the whole thing into smaller pieces and they centrifuge out the metal parts. And the yarn, the polyester yarn, we still keep it because our yarn supplier can use the material anyhow. We have some spots on our materials, which we call beauty spots, where the dye stuff holds better than on the cotton. So it does happen that our material looks a little bit like recycled material. Here's an example. No, she's wearing jeans, so you can't see that. But now we try to use as much as possible as we can from the old jeans. And with the new technique, where they are chemically recycling, the yarn, which we are also going to use partly. That's yarn made for the, what's it called, cellulose-based yarn, the more like the viscose yarn. There they can separate also the polyester out of, in the process, out of the cotton, the part. So it's getting, the techniques are getting more and more interesting and better at the moment.
So it's no more important to make clothes with only one material. With
Yeah,
a new
that is, of course, it's better to create a mono stream of material. That's also the advantage of when you use pre-consumer material, you have the cutting losses. This is, of course, excellent to recycle and easy, and it's been done already for a long time. We shouldn't be too proud of that. That's why we talk always about post-consumer waste. But yeah, the techniques are improving. It's getting better and easier and to use more. That's also why we use, for instance, only stainless steel buttons, not with plastic parts and other materials. So these are also easy to recycle.
Ah, very good. I think the second question you have answered, the cutting scraps. You moved from Tunisia, where you sew the jeans, to Spain to make to use it for recycling, or
the other way around. Are the jeans that we gather in Europe, that we get back from our customers, we then send them to Spain. That's where they do the separation of the cotton and the metal parts. They make the yarn, they shred it, they spin it, they dye it, they weave it. And these rolls of denim then go to Tunisia.
Yes, but in Tunisia, you have to cut the jeans, and normally you have something about 20% of cut-offs.
Cutting loss, yeah.
Yeah, and that you send back to Spain.
No, we don't.
No, at the moment it's 12.5% on average. And this is collected by local companies that are in Tunisia that use this for other recycling purposes. So this we don't send to Spain at the moment because it's not huge quantities for us. But if it were to become more, that would definitely be something that we would explore.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Rob, I think we already asked you a question. And Paul, did we ask you a question already? No? Okay, well then please
I'd
go
like
ahead.
to ask you one.
Yes, yes. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
like I said,
Yes, that's what I meant.
I've been mostly focusing on how you shape up the whole sufficiency part of your mission statement. And could you expand a little bit on what sort of activities you undertake? I imagine the leasing of jeans is part of that, and what kind of difficulties you see in that.
So you're talking about sufficiency?
Yeah, you mentioned that as one thing of your mission statement, and just the sort of activities that you do to make that happen.
Yeah. So I think there's one big one for us that's we like to say that we make somewhat timeless designs. So we want to make items that you don't just wear for one season and then you throw them out. We want to encourage a conscious consumption, meaning you buy something because you like this and you see this being in your wardrobe for a long time. So I think that's
essentials. Yes.
Yeah, so like we like to say everyday essentials. So items that are kind of helping you build that capsule wardrobe that then helps you to build outfits around that for a long time. So I think that's a big one for us. And we also really try to reach that we want to not encourage you buying something that you don't need. So if you look at, for example, Black Friday, kind of a big day where companies, not just in fashion, but also beyond that, just encourage you to consume because there are discounts. And something that we do on that day, for example, is raise awareness for not having to shop just because there are discounts on that day, but really thinking about, do you need something? And does it have to be new even? So what we do on Black Fridays, we like to call it Blue Friday. And we sell vintage jeans instead on that day. So we close our online shop entirely and you can't buy any new jeans. And from the jeans that we get back from our customers, the old worn jeans, we always sort them into two streams. There's the jeans that are being recycled, and then there's the vintage jeans. So jeans that are still good enough to be worn. And those jeans, then, for example, we sell on our Blue Friday. So that's, maybe just one example of how we do that, but we try to come up with different campaigns. Also on Earth Day, we did something similar. that kind of help raise the awareness for this sufficiency topic.
Yeah, nice. And do you see that spreading in any sort of way to other companies within your network, within or outside of the textile industry? That sort of activity.
Maybe I think the awareness for it is definitely there, and I think that whole topic of degrowth and looking at how can you be a successful business but still not push mindlessly for consumption. I think the awareness for it is definitely there, but overall the implementation of it, it's not huge, of course, because it's difficult to be successful if you're starting to become a company that wants to grow, and then also encouraging sufficiency. I think it's still something that companies have to learn or to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. It's a difficult contradiction.
Yeah,
exactly. We try to sell less. That doesn't really go for a commercial company, but that's the idea. Bursa, you're on finally.
Thank you. I would like to ask your expectations from the new eco-design regulation for sustainable products, ESPR. How do you see it fitting into the broader effects to promote sustainability in product design? And do you expect any tensions or opportunities raising from it? Finally, your assessment as sectoral.
That's 5 questions, one by one. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll try to react on the ESPR. For us, we are doing ESPR already for
your expectations from ESPR, first of all.
Yeah, so we are happy with ESPR regulation because that's what we do already for 10 years or more than 10 years. So for us, it's creating a more level playing field, and that's what we've been asking for a long time, because at the moment it's not a level playing field. I hope that ESPR is going to be the main regulation that's really also going to be follow up. I mean that you can implement a regulation, but if nobody looks at it, so there also has to be how do you say that in English? There has to be control over that. We welcome ESPR very much, but you have to control it also. What was your other question?
How do you evaluate its effectiveness in promotion of this sustainable product design and the negative aspect, possible negative aspects of it?
Do you understand the question?
Could you maybe repeat that?
How do you see it fitting into broader effects to promote sustainable products and any negative aspects, possible negative aspects of it?
ESPR, you mean?
Yeah.
I think I'm happy with it will create awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We see that ourselves with our customers. If you take the lead of for instance, leasing jeans or telling people you can send back your old jeans to us, we will recycle it. You see that there's nobody who dislikes this. You know what I mean? If you tell them, send back your old jeans, we will take care of it and we will recycle it and use the raw material again. No person is against this. It's not pointing with the green finger and say we all do it completely wrong. It's just saying we have a solution. We want your old jeans. We are going to reuse them in your new jeans, and that's nice. So this whole regulation will help us to push that forward. And it's not only for our industry, but for the general industries and all. You know, if you take washing machines or mattresses or anything, it's of course much better for all of us, for our all complete economy, that we start thinking about reusing old and raw materials instead of landfilling or burning it. So I think it's a very good thing that finally these laws are going to be implemented.
Okay, thank you. That would be my third question. Thanks.
Okay.
Then we arrive back at.
Now you can raise hands if you still have a burning question. I mean, yeah, okay, then we go to, you were first, Katarina.
Yeah, I actually do, because you were like, you're very forward with a lot of those business models and strategies, but maybe looking at all of them and comparing them, what would you say is like the most financial profitable strategy for you guys, or the most, in environmental senses? So economic and environmentally, what is the most feasible strategies from your experience?
Well, that's always a struggle. Of course, we want to make jeans of 100% post-consumer waste recycled cotton, but they will cost a fortune. So yeah, where do you go? We also want you as a student to be able to wear our jeans. So they have to be in sort of a scope where you are able to buy our jeans and wear our jeans and be proud of it. So this is the main struggle we are living every day. How much we spend on marketing, how much material are we going to recycle? How much do we give you for sending back your old jeans? And today we give you a €10 discount if you send back your old jeans. None of our competitors doing this. And you have to imagine that we give you this discount. We pay for the transport back from you to us. We pay for the transport from here to Spain. And that's all extra costs that we as a company have to bear, that other companies do not have. So our competitors are still in the advantage. Luckily, we have a strong story and we win prizes and we have a lot of press people following us and talk about us, which helps us a lot. We have a lot of people, we are, for instance, they write about us in economic books on schools, where I hope that children come home in the evening time and say, hey, I've heard this story about mud jeans and I think it's a great story, Daddy or Mommy, you should only buy this kind of garments. So we also calculate a little bit on that, but it's difficult, yeah, it's not easy.
But would you say like there might be an advantage or disadvantage if you were to cooperate like with marketplaces, for example? Like if you're a brand that hasn't established their own rental platform or whatsoever,
You
maybe
mean
like
marketplace like Zalando or About You or?
Yeah, Zalando, for example, for resale, or Selfie, Rent the Runway, something like that for rental. Like there are a lot of marketplaces, but
we work with About You. We did work with Zalando, but the return rates were so high there that it didn't make sense for us. We also we go all the way. So if you order your jeans online, which you're all going to do after this, with our discount code that you're going to get, it will be delivered in Holland by bike. You know what I mean? So we try not only to pay people well and to not use critical chemicals and not go so far away for getting our jeans, but also all the way to deliver to your house in a smart way, in the most effective way, in the most CO2 lowest emission way as we can. And we can improve every day. And luckily there are inventions every day that are improving this kind of things. The whole business model can be improved every day. Is that what you mean? Is it?
yeah, kind of like it's more of an out of the perspective, like, for brands that are not that established as you are, for example, like maybe it's a good starting point to combine or like to co-work with like marketplace of Zalando to resell their products to see how it works for them, because it also depends on the product type, on like how well the model works for them.
Yeah.
So that was more like it.
Also, I think you also have to be careful with what kind of partners you choose. And Zalando has not been always very positive in the news, whether or not the stories are true. But for us, it's easy. We do jeans and they're not cheap. So it's easy to get them back, to pack them and to send them to other customers. But I hear stories that they have t-shirts of €5, which when they are returned are not worth do the picking and the folding and try to sell it again. So they're thrown away. So, that's also not a good idea. But I'm curious to hear your point of view on this.
No, definitely. I mean, like, as I said, I'm working for a brand right now that is looking into those things. And it seems like also very hard, like also the legal work to co-work with marketplaces or third-party providers. So that's definitely also an obstacle that my brand is facing right now. So yeah, it's like the do it yourself or like jump on the wagon of someone else that is doing it, but like at what cost?
Yeah, I heard about Rent the Runway. I'm not a specialist, so I don't know much about their business model. But yeah, but we get offers of that kind of help every day of people who are taking back clothing, ironing it, do the whole logistic system. We are, of course, we are every day talking to different suppliers, and as a company we are quite known, so a lot of people address us often about something they invented. So sometimes it's even too much, but we look into that every day. For us also, it's trying to improve every day.
Yeah.
We don't have all the solutions.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we see a raised hand from Emily.
Also.
Yes, I have one question. Do you think that your activities with mud jeans play an important role in the transition towards a more sustainable fashion industry, that you maybe inspire other brands to become more sustainable?
We hope so. Actually, when we started, we had two missions in mind. One was to show to the whole fashion world that you can, as a small company, change things and do things better. Well, I think that mission has succeeded, because when we go, for instance, last week or 2 weeks ago, we had Kingpins in Amsterdam. It's a show for denim specialists, and they are huge suppliers making kilometers of denim every day, and they know us. They've heard about us. They speak highly about us. So we sort of are feeling proud that these people know us and that they like our initiative. On the other hand, growing, and we also want to make impact ourselves by volume, because the jeans industry is a volume-driven business. You need to get to a certain volume to be able to be profitable, and that's still very difficult. So we need to grow, although growth is a dirty word these days. But I think if we grow within the jeans industry and take parts of other, let's say, dirty businesses, then I think we are allowed to grow.
And maybe a follow-up. Do you believe that the fashion system will someday become sustainable, or that will never happen?
That humanity is going to be smart after all? No, I'm sorry to say that it's very difficult. But let's try. I'm an old man, so maybe your generation will be smarter than we are. Let's hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
Bursa,
think we have to go through the questions a little bit.
Or Helga.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, I have a short question. I read that you have the plan to make jeans for people with handicaps. Do you have a plan, or do you work with Clue 3D and body scanner? Because I'm also very interested in this. I've learned seamstress and studied fashion design, and I'm a pattern maker, and had several plans how you can manage this without losing too much money. But it's too short here to discuss this. And my question is whether I have a possibility to talk to you in another.
Definitely. You can reach out to us.
Lea,
yes. I will send you in the chat my email, and you can reach out to us. It's definitely something we can speak about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Then Busra.
Thank you. I see from your sustainability report you have also a QR code target for 2022. Do you think the digital product passports that will be introduced by the ESPR, do they accurately reflect the sustainability information of the products? And what role do you think DPP's digital product passports play in the creation and dissemination of sustainability information of the products?
Yeah, the digital passport, of course, is a way forward, and is for the future something very nice. I don't think at the moment it's really ready for to start working with it. We just had a discussion last Friday about it at the Impact Hub. It's not yet fully grown into something that we can use, I think, today. But it's promising. Looks promising, yes.
And what we use at the moment is in a platform called Text Tracer also.
Yeah.
Through them, we implemented that this year. you can see every step of the production journey and also the environmental impact of each of our products. And with this, we do have a good experience, but I think that we're also at an advantage there because we have a short and very transparent supply chain already. So for us, mapping this and reaching out to our supply chain partners is perhaps a bit easier than it is for huge companies that have huge supply chains. But yeah, for us, I think we've had good experience with it, and it really allows also the customer to see in more detail how that product was made and where. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Rob.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. For some companies, it's quite difficult to really to completely become carbon neutral or to show this message to the customers. Do you think there would be a market for a webshop plugin which calculates the CO2 offset of products and allows customers to pay a monetary compensation in the checkout, and why?
I see that there are companies that do this already. There's a few that have reached out to us over the years, but I think, yeah, there's multiple reasons why we personally haven't implemented it. I think on one standpoint, it's also you want to have as little distraction in the checkout as possible. I think that's more from a marketing perspective. Then just, from my personal perspective, I think what I already told you, offsetting is a bit of a difficult topic at the moment. And, maybe the market gets a little bit more complicated for this right now as well. Yeah. And also, I think it's a matter of, again, it relates to what I said earlier, but the focus should really be on the reduction and not on putting the responsibility of offsetting then in this case also on the consumer. So I think that's some of the reasons why we haven't implemented it. Yeah. But just looking at the fact that these companies do exist, I would say there is a market for it. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons that we make our jeans in Tunisia, which is not so far away. It's only one day by boat from Tunis to Marseille. And that we recycle our denim in Spain, in Valencia. It looks all very far away, but in the industry, this is really a very short journey. So I think that's more important than offsetting things, but okay. Yeah, that's our point of view.
Okay, clear. Thanks.
Thank you. In light of time, Katharina, I think your question, and depending how quick that goes, maybe we can do a last question as well.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to go back to the part for the incentives to the customer, because you mentioned like you're also, giving vouchers to people that lease the jeans or like give the jeans to you for either vintage jeans or recycling. But do you think there might also be like, some problem with the part that basically the customer's incentives to buy new products again, like considering like utilization rate or like, in general, like how many new products customer buys?
Yeah. Well, I would say no, because from our side, we always make it very clear that we want you to keep the product for as long as possible. And we want you to keep wearing it until you no longer want it. And we really want to be that very last step, that's the sustainable alternative to landfill, or putting it into some kind of, bin or trash, wherever you want to put it, or keeping it even in your wardrobe unused for such a long time. So I think for us, it doesn't incentivize those new purchases, but what we of course do see is that maybe it incentivizes you buying a mud jeans instead of another jeans in that case. Which is, in our opinion, then a good thing, because we see ourselves as a good sustainable alternative to other jeans. But I think it's always about how do you communicate about that. And yeah, we feel that we're not really incentivizing that with that. If that makes sense to you, sorry.
I was also reading at the same time.
Yeah.
So whenever you defend your thesis from now on, you have to wear the mud jeans.
Will do.
Okay? Let's talk about it. Like everything we do on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. the whole enchilada, please. That would help us a lot. And I hope this has been interesting for you. Busra has still one question. Maybe we should give her a chance. All the way from Turkey.
Thank you so much.
Last question for you.
Last question. Do you estimate any market restructuring after the introduction of ESPR and digital product passports? And do you see, I think probably you're not, the TPPs are a barrier to innovation or not?
ESPR, a barrier to innovation?
Or not, yes.
No, I don't think so. No, I think it will only help innovation because people have to start thinking about designing a product that they will get back, and then they are responsible for the product after delivery and after use. So no, it's a good thing. That it will help immediately? No, I don't think so. It has to be implemented, it has to be followed up. There has to be a control system for that. Not done yet. It's going to be interesting to see, but early days now to be able to say something really about it, I think. We have to talk to each other in 1 year and then see what has happened.
Do you estimate any market restructuring due to the interaction?
No, not immediately, I don't think so.
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.